Yo guys, today let's talk about the reasons why owning a old car is better and smarter money-wise, okay? So there are some obvious reasons you may already know, you may have already guessed, okay? And there are some less obvious reasons we're gonna talk about in this video. So some of you may say straight away, why you wanna own a car? It's a liability, you know? The best car is a car you don't have, you don't own basically. Well, this is only true if you are a city guy. If you are living in the big city, you don't really need a car. You're not a car guy, okay? If you are from the countryside, you know what I'm talking about. Without cars, we are basically without legs, okay? We can't do anything. So I do need a car. And if you're not living in the city, you will most likely need a car, okay? Anyway, let's get right into it with the first reason to not get yourself a new car, which is the most obvious one. They are cheaper, okay? Older cars are cheaper. Second-hand cars are cheaper. Twice, thrice, sometimes 4, 5 times cheaper than a newer car, okay? So you don't need to get a car payment. Just don't get one, okay? Buy the car you can afford. Buy the car you can pay cash, okay? Without breaking the bank. You don't need to spend even, 30, 50, 70, 100, 100K on a car. You can get a perfectly fine, reliable old car for less than 10K here in Europe, okay? So yeah, it will be old, but it will be reliable and it will do its job, okay? So that's the first reason. You don't need to pay a lot to get a car. You don't need to spend that much money, on a older car. Of course, if you are into cars, you are a car guy and you can afford, that expensive car, go for it, of course. But if you don't want to pay the price, or if you rather, spend your money on something else or invest your money, get an older car. You can get a reliable, fast car for pretty good money now, okay? Other reason being reliability, okay? Older cars tend to be, on average, more reliable. If they were looked after, if they were well maintained, if you pick the right one, if you shop smart, of course, you have to know what you are doing, you can get a very reliable car, even if it is 15, 20 plus years old, okay? For example, I'm sitting in a VAG product, in a Volkswagen product. It's almost 23 years old and it is reliable. It's very reliable, I had a few issues, I fixed most of these issues were fixed on my own, and now it's reliable. It's a very, very good car, even though it's old. But the newer Volkswagen products tend to get worse. They are not what they used to be. Yesterday I was talking with a BMW fan, at the car meet, and he told me, BMW is the same now. It used to be very good cars, very reliable. Now they are getting only worse and ugly, okay? Which is subjective, but it was his opinion about it. Now I'm in France, for example. I'm French, by the way. Don't get yourself a French car, okay? French cars peaked in the 80s, early 90s, but now they are pieces of crap, okay? They have a lot of issues. They are expensive to own. They are pain to cope with. Don't get French cars. It's over, okay? So newer cars tend to be, less reliable. They are getting worse. So get yourself an older car. They will, they were built to last. They were made to be reliable, okay? That's another reason. Other than that, insurance will be cheaper for an older car. When it comes to taxes, depending where you're from, all countries are different. It will most likely be less. Here in France, it's cheaper to own a, old car. If you want to buy a new car, depending on what you buy, it can be crazy, insanely expensive, taxes-wise. That's another reason. And yeah, other than that, when it comes to maintenance as well, parts, if something breaks down, are cheaper for older cars, okay? And there are a lot of second-hand parts available on the market, online, and so on. So you will save a lot on parts. That's another reason. Now let's get into the less obvious reasons to own a old car, okay? The first reason, less obvious reason, is that older cars tend to be, simpler by design, okay? They have less electronics, and if something breaks down, you will most likely, if you know a little bit about cars, be able to fix it on your own. You don't have to pay huge, mechanic bills, labor, to get your car fixed. You can find a lot of tutorials online, on YouTube, on on forums, and fix a lot on your own. As soon as you get some tools, and you are eager to learn, you can do a lot on your car, and you will save a lot of money, on parts first, but on labor as well. Okay, and that's another reason. You can work on your own car because it's still a pretty easy car to work on if you're not a mechanic or if you have not fancy tools. Okay, that's a other reason. You do avoid as well, or you can avoid, the sloppy mechanics. Some mechanics don't do their work well. In every car I've worked on, I can always find, some sloppy work that was, done somewhere, my car. So then I have to fix it. And then because I love my car and, I tend to take my time when I work on my car, it's even better. Then, I do my work better than some mechanics. Not some mechanics, I'm not a mechanic. I'm not saying all mechanics are sloppy, but some are, okay? That's another reason. Other than that, you don't have to lose money on cars. Believe it or not, but the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution I sold this year was sold for more than I bought it. Okay, the Toyota Caldina GT4 I own in Russia. You remember, guys, the nice blue car, sold for way more than I bought it. Okay, I just made 6,000 euros on this car. So these were two cars I sold for more than I bought them. So when people say, oh, you're always losing money on cars, this is true when it comes to, to the fuel. Fuel is a reliability, of course. You pay as you go. But sometimes if you know which one to pick, if you are into cars, if you read about cars, you can understand, which cars are in a bear market and catch a wave. For example, this car was in a bear market last year. Now the prices are taking off. Okay, and I'm sure I will be able to resell this car, which is a Audi S3, for more than I bought it. So of course it was well maintained, it's in very good shape, it's in mint condition, you can see the interior. I do look after it very well, but still, I won't lose money on this car most likely. Okay, even though I spend on parts and so on, because I got into this car for a reason. I could get myself for the same price, a newer Audi S3 8P, for example, but I knew these ones, other than the looks, are better because they will get more expensive and they are rarer. Okay, and they are better, more reliable, I think. Okay, they are better on fuel as well. Okay, so that's another reason. You can sometimes even make money on older cars. Okay, some will keep their value and some will even increase in value. Okay, they will make you money. Okay, some have made a lot of money, on old JDM cars, Nismos, Skylines, Supras, even STIs. They bought them where they were very cheap, and now they can basically resell them for twice the price. Pretty nice, right? And of course, other than that, this is highly subjective, but I think you guys, especially men from my generation, you will agree with me. They are better looking. Okay, older cars are just better looking. Back in the days, cars had a personality. Every brand was different, and there was something to it. Now they all look the same. Cars are getting pretty dull, boring, lame. But before, they back in the days, 20, 30 years ago, they were designed, in its own way. They had a personality. And I found them to be more interesting to drive. They are more difficult to drive. Newer cars, they are easy to drive, and you don't have the driving sensations anymore. If you are a car guy and you want a real good driving experience, older cars tend to be more difficult to drive when it goes wrong. What you have to know what you are doing when you drive them. Okay. So it's more interesting to drive. You need some driving skills if you want to send them and to drive them hard. You need to know what you are doing with an older car. Newer cars, they have so much electronics and stuff that not much can go wrong. Okay, unless you are asshole, you know how to drive, of course. But otherwise, they are too good. Okay, they are too good. Especially for example, Volkswagen products are too good now. Okay. I don't enjoy them. I don't enjoy driving them. Okay, so that's why I like older cars, and that's why you will like older cars as well. Okay, and of course, when you work on your own on your car, you will understand cars better. If something breaks down because you know your car, you will be able to know what's wrong. You know, you don't have to go to a mechanic to pay this huge bill. You can fix a lot on your own. Okay, I hope this was interesting. If it was, consider subscribing and smash that like button. Check the links below in the description, and yeah, comment below. Are you a car guy? If you are one, tell me what car you are currently driving, and what was the best car you have ever owned. Okay, the best car I've ever owned was my Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution, which was a blast. Okay, anyway, talk to you soon. Have a good one, guys.